This is such a beautiful, amazing ship. I know that there's 2 million things you could be doing at any given time. So for you to come in and come and listen to my talks it makes me feel very happy. Thank you. I'm very proud. Thank you so much. So today, I talked about a couple days ago, Hollywood versus reality, and what Hollywood shows you and what we really do. And then yesterday, I talked about the fascinating world of forensics, talked a little bit about the biology and chemistry and different aspects of technologies that we use in crime scene investigation. And today, we're going to talk signatures at the scene, and that is about fingerprints and DNA. And we call them signatures because they're individualizing. Nobody has the same fingerprints or DNA except for DNA. Who has? Identical twins have the same DNA, but they have different fingerprints. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. So, signatures at the scene. I just love this picture. Kind of looks really cool what we get to do, with our science and technologies and all of the things that we have. So you already was introduced by Damien, so I won't go through that again. Dedicate everything I do to my mom, who encouraged my crazy antics when I was a child and just let me go and be my crazy little science self. So fingerprints, we'll start with fingerprints. So cool things about fingerprints. Fingerprints are very, very cool. So it was the first forensic tool used to give us individualized proof, okay, as opposed to hairs and fibers and things like that. This is a type of evidence that your fingerprint is your fingerprint, and that's the end of it. So that's very, very important. It comes from the word dactyloscopy, which means to examine fingers. And why would we do that? Why do we want to examine fingers? Because somebody a long time ago noticed that we had these ridges and stuff on our hands, and they were like, well, I wonder if everybody's the same. Eventually, it turned into that question. So they observed that there were patterns on the individual prints on your hand. They're very patterns of swirls and whirls and this and that. You'll see more of that in a second. And their impression, the print itself is an impression created by the ridges at the end of your fingers and your thumb as well. And the purpose, I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but the purpose for fingerprints is traction. So you'd never know that with me because I drop everything. And I also fall, so I'm trying not to get too close here. But that's what those fingerprints are for, so that we have traction to pick things up so everything doesn't slide right out of our hands. Sweat and oil and the ridges and the pattern, that's how we get a fingerprint. That's what creates a fingerprint. The sweats and oils in your skin, whatever pattern you have, fingerprint. So formation begins in the womb around the 3rd to 4th month, and then it's completed by the six months gestation. So it goes way back. Fingerprints go way back. More cool things about fingerprints, and I find this amazing, that they're no more similar between family members than between total strangers. Wouldn't you think that in your family, within your family, where you share some of your DNA, not all of it, but some information, you would think your fingerprints would also be the same or at least more similar, but that is not true. It doesn't make any difference. These people who obviously all look alike, their fingerprints are no more similar than this whole crowd of people in New York City. So what about identical twins? Well, they have the same DNA, but they have different fingerprints, okay? So even identical twins can't go around killing people and leaving us in the lurch, because we got tools, we got other tools that we can use, right? And the reason for that is the fingerprints are formed in the womb by a number of different factors. The physical environment, even though those two babies, identical twins, right, they're right in the same area, their umbilical cord length will be different, blood flow will be slightly different, the foods that they get, the nutrition, and the rate that the fingers grow will be different. So they will come up with a different pattern. How about fraternal twins? No, not the same DNA, and not the same fingerprints, nothing. These are my great niece and nephew, actually. They're adorable. They're womb mates. Uh, so the original pattern that you get from when you're born, when they fingerprint you, they put your feet and you get the new baby, stays with you throughout your whole life, and you cannot get rid of it. You can try. You could burn yourself down to the bone, I guess, but eventually, if you can try to scrape it away, all those things, it does come back. So here's a cartoon about John Dillinger, because he tried to burn his fingerprints off with acid, and he wasn't able to do that. So don't try it. It's not worth it, okay? As it turns out, the best things in life are free as long as you don't leave fingerprints. Right. So which animal do you think has fingerprints almost indistinguishable from a human being? What do you think? What's that? Chimpanzee. That's a great guess, but no. That's a trick. It's the koala bear. The koala bear's fingerprints, and they're so adorable. The koala bear's fingerprints are almost indistinguishable from a human being. Except that they don't commit a lot of crimes, unless maybe your eucalyptus trees are missing or something. They're not usually at the scene, but their fingerprints are amazingly close to ours. Isn't that crazy? And they're so cute. So here's a koala bear leaving his prints on a pint in the pub. That's what he's doing. So if he goes and commits some kind of crime, then we might catch up with this guy. But typically, we don't get a lot of koala bears doing bad things. Okay? Well, the difference in their hands is that they have claws instead of fingernails, although a lot of people kind of have like claws now, right, with those really long fingernails. And humans have ridges all over their palms, and koalas only on parts of their palms. But other than that, he's like, nah, see, I fooled you. So their hands are different, right? But their prints, if you put them side by side, pretty amazing. Koala, human. It's crazy. Yeah, this little guy, he got away with it. He was so cute. So they don't change as you grow in age. So the fingerprints you had when you were a baby are the same ones you have now. They just stay the same, from the beautiful, tiny little perfect hand up there and feet right down to the older hand of an elderly person. It's the same thing. So the different print types that we use in investigation is what we call visible print. And that's the result from fingers being stained by blood and ink and things like that. So when you go into a crime scene, and you might look on the wall and see if you see any fingerprints, right, that are visible. You can see them with the naked eye. And they're made from different things, blood, whatever is at the scene. That print there. Latent, you hear that all the time in the CSA programs. Those are the prints that we have to enhance somehow to see them, okay? They're invisible to the naked eye. Or you might see a smudge or a dust spot, but we need to enhance that, and with colors and powders and all kinds of things. So that's something like that. You might not see that on here, but then if you use the right powders, you'll see prints. And then we have plastic, and that's what you get when you put a fingerprint in something that's pliable, like cheese or soap. And believe it or not, these crimes have been solved that way, where people have touched things and left an impression that's in a pliable surface. So that's kind of what that looks like. So why do you think we can't get fingerprints from fabric or carpet? Because fingerprints are made up of sweats and oils and the patterns, okay? So the sweats and the oils, right? The sweat and the oils get absorbed into the material. So you're not going to get a print. So I could do this, all day, and you're not going to get a print off my dress. We can, however, get print off skin. Now we can do that, and we use one of the techniques for that is super glue fuming. You can actually make a little tent and heat up some super glue and use this ink, and it causes the print to appear, which is pretty cool. I actually tried to show my husband one day when I was teaching it at the university. I came home, I'm like, I'll show you how we do this. And super glue, and I heated it up on the stove, and I was barefoot and forgot that I was barefoot, and I dropped a little bit on the floor, and I stepped on it, and it was not cool at all. I actually had to take a little razor blade and try to ooh, it was awful. Okay, watch out for super glue. So it's made up, fingerprints are made up of patterns, arches and loops and whorls, the loop being the most common. So it's all these individual kind of patterns. We all have different ones in different ways, and some of them are very cool looking. A central pocket loop is very cool, and the double whorl, the double loop whorl, things like that, and that's what we're looking for. And every one of your fingers and your thumbs are different from one another. So your right hand isn't the same as your left hand. What we're looking for when we're comparing is we're looking for what we call minutia. That's all the little stuff, all the little things that are individualizing about this one print. Ridge endings up at the top, the way it ends, ridge bifurcations, the way it goes off in two different ways, some dots, what we call islands, what we call ponds and lakes, all these different things. I'm not sure, has anyone ever really looked at fingerprints and seen all how that minutia, how many small little variations there are? So that's what we're looking for. Spurs, the little notch that protrudes, and bridges, and all kinds of cool stuff. So we come along with AFIS, which is the Integrated Automated Fingerprint Identification System, which is basically a library. It's a library of fingerprints. So it's open 24 hours a day. You don't need a